Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Paulo Costa recently slammed Khamzat Chimaev for ducking a fight with him and instead opting to fight Gilbert Burns a second time. In a recent tweet, Costa said, "If you are zero grappling or smaller than 5'6", the Cupcake Chechen wants to fight you." What do you guys think? Do you think Khamzat is ducking Costa? Let us know your opinion in the comment section below. Khabib believes that Islam Makhachev will make short work of Volkanovski when the pair meet at UFC 284. In a recent interview, Khabib had this to say about the matchup.
Islam next fight?
Islam's next fight. What's the prediction?
It's gonna be... I told Islam, like, even before last fight, with Charles Oliveira, I told him, like, Volkanovski is gonna be tougher than Charles Oliveira, like, before the fight, because he was like, if Charles don't make weight, Volkanovski is supposed to fight with him, and, like, I think is like, he have good experience, of course, like experience, like Charles and Volkanovski, they have same. Okay, they have both good experience, but if you talk about like fighting IQ and big heart, I think Volkanovski is better than him. And I think Volkanovski gonna be tougher opponent for Islam than Charles Oliveira. But anyways, who cares? We're gonna finish this guy.
Ben Askren recently gave his opinion on who the best wrestler in the UFC was. Here's what Askren had to say.
Probably Bo Nickel.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's a three-time NCAA champion, Hodge winner. I don't
Is there anyone that comes second on that list, like as far as just, wrestling in the UFC?
Henry, is Henry technically unretired or not yet?
I don't know. I think he's in the USADA pool, so let's just say he's not retired.
Well, yeah. I mean, Henry obviously has equal credentials. Now you have me wanting to go to the UFC. You make me do all this research.
I know. Well, hey, I'm putting some ideas in your head.
And seeing who else, from a wrestling credentials standpoint, is anywhere even comparable.
Would you put Islam in that category, though? I know it's more grappling, but
it's so hard with them because, I mean, obviously they do, like him and Khabib, they crush people with wrestling. But you asked me from a wrestling perspective, and without seeing them, even Chimaev, who I think they all in that area, they all grow up wrestling, but without seeing them at a relatively high level, it's hard to say, because there's even been some guys who, I mean, like GSP probably would be the most prime example, who have almost no wrestling background, but yet use takedowns really, really well. But that doesn't always translate into regular wrestling. It's correlated probably, but it's not a direct translation.
In a recent interview, Dustin Poirier let it be known that he's not interested in a fight against Beneil Dariush. Poirier said, "Big fights, fun fights. I don't know, man. I completed the Violence Triangle, finished Gaethje, finished Eddie, finished Chandler. There's a bunch of fights that would be crazy matchups. I just don't know a name right now, not really, honestly. No disrespect to Beneil. Great fighter, and he did it the right way. He's a very respectful guy, hard worker, and he goes in there and handles business, and I respect that. I watch when he fights. When we just talked about the other names I fought recently, that one's not super exciting when I think about it. I want those because those are going to be the fun fights, the crazy fights, potential fight of the year type fights. But those are also the fights that give me those butterflies in the stomach every day, or when the contract comes through and I see his name across from it. I've been watching Chandler a long time in Bellator, and I know some guys he beat. He's very explosive, and that danger, it's always the unknown, no matter how prepared you are. But when you go out there and you've got a guy of that caliber who can finish the fight in a second and hit you with shots, cover distance, a lot of things he does are very dangerous." Dustin then spoke about Islam being the current champion. "It opens up doors, it makes new matchups and things like that, but I always knew there was a path back to the belt, even if Charles had the belt. I can do anything I put my mind to. I knew I could climb the mountain again. It was just, do I want to go through the killers, and do I want to fight 3-4 more times to put myself in position again? I'm taking this one fight at a time." Robert Whittaker recently gave us some insight into his fight with Paulo Costa that's set to go down at UFC 284. Here's the clip.
Paulo Costa in February, of course, a fight that you were supposed to have a little while ago. Now, I don't imagine he's anything you haven't seen before. You've gone 10 rounds with Yoel Romero, for goodness sake. Do you think actually that those two fights against Yoel puts you in good stead against a power puncher like Costa?
I've fought a lot of dudes who are power punchers, and the trick is not to get hit by them. So hopefully I can keep my head on and duck and weave a fair bit.
Sean O'Malley has revealed that his next fight in the UFC will be for the Bantamweight title.
They told you in Vegas that regardless of how things shake out, your next fight is for the title. Is that fair?
That's accurate, yes.
Okay, fair enough. Do you I mean, Aljamain as bantamweight champion, it's been kind of a strange like run for him, right? Because the way that he won the title was by disqualification. Then he had the win over Jan, which was I guess somewhat of a controversial decision. And then of course he beats Dillashaw, who said that his shoulder was badly hurt. Kind of a weird stretch for him, right? Kind of a weird title reign.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said it, but he's laughing all the way to the bank. He don't, whether it messes with him mentally, we don't know. He could say one thing, but really, I mean, you can sit here and say whatever you want. It doesn't mean it's accurate. It could be, I could sit here and say whatever, but on the inside, I can feel completely different. So he said it doesn't bother him. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. That's about all I got to say about that.
On a recent episode of the Believe You Me podcast, Anthony Smith said he believes that Khamzat Chimaev would easily beat Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya, but could struggle against Covington. Here's the clip.
You got to give it to Khamzat. He's down to fight everyone.
Yeah, he is. I totally get why he wants this Pereira fight. He probably watched that licking his chops. Like, these are two guys that I can smash with his style and the way that he approaches the game. Those are two fairly favorable matchups, in my opinion. And I think the Colby Covington fight is a tougher fight than he probably wants to admit publicly. Say what you want about Colby Covington, about his attitude that he says, the lines that he crosses, that can fight.
Yep.
And he's tough as they come. And you have to come prepared when you're fighting Colby Covington. Maybe he's not the hardest hitter. Maybe he's not the flashiest guy, but he is going to grind and he's never going to get tired. He's going to be tough to out wrestle. So I think he looks at that as an easier fight. I would imagine that, I don't know if this is offensive or not, but I think that Pereira and Adesanya are much easier fights for Khamzat than Colby Covington.
Yeah, and that's why they're not going to let Khamzat, I wouldn't assume, anywhere near that fight until it plays out.
It looks certain now that Jones versus Stipe Miocic is not going to happen, and according to various sources, the UFC is hoping to schedule Jones against Francis Ngannou for March. However, if the UFC fails to make a deal with Ngannou, or he decides he's not ready to fight, they are most likely to have Curtis Blaydes take his place against Jones. Ciryl Gane is also being considered as a potential backup for Jones. Curtis Blaydes recently wrote on social media that he's not sure how authentic the rumors are, but if he's asked to face off against John Jones, he'll be ready for war. Ciryl Gane tweeted, "March sounds great for the start of #strap season. Ngannou, Jones, Blaydes, I don't care. It's anytime, anyone, anywhere." Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.